Welcome back to Something Else Today podcast. I am your host, DJ Mahlatsi. And here at Something Else Today, we provide the platform for people to speak and raise awareness on some things that are not right. And today we have a guest that's just about to do that, to talk about property, real estate, property stuff. And she is here with us, and we really, really appreciate her. And we've seen online things have been hectic, but we are really, really glad to have her. Hence, this segment will actually be out and about earlier than all of our segments usually come through. So let's welcome Miss Bronwyn Rodriguez.
Yes, you got it right. Good job. Thank you. Don't ask me to pronounce your name. I'm still working on it.
It's okay. It's all right. How are you doing today?
Good. Yeah.
How's
it's been
your
an
drive?
interesting day. A little shaky today, but it's been a good day. It's always a good day. I'm alive. It's a good day.
That's good. That's good to hear, because the drama. We're gonna get into the drama.
Oh,
Are you ready?
I know.
You can take a deep breath and take a glass of water.
No,
You're probably
I'll be
gonna
doing that
need
throughout the whole interview.
Definitely. So, we can actually start on actually getting to know you a little bit.
Sure.
Can you tell us a bit about your background and how you became involved in the property industry?
Yeah, so I was actually born and raised in South Africa and moved to Canada when I was 15, and then got involved in property when I was 20, so a very young age. And I was in property until I moved back to South Africa. So I've been in real estate many, many, many years, but obviously under the Canadian system. So when I decided to move me and my son here, because he needed better medical, and South Africa has beautiful medical, I decided maybe I should get back into property. And so I got my license, my NQF4, which is your PDE4 exam. So I got licensed and started practicing. And obviously I have a story on my TikTok about my experience purchasing in South Africa. And it was horrific, and it shocked me to my core because I've been doing real estate for so long, and I always protect my clients. So I was a bit disheartened by the fact that I had been misled by so many different people, and they got away with it. A lot of people say just sue, but it costs a fortune and takes forever. So I kind of just realized that you pick your battles. And instead of suing, I'm going to take the money and put it into transforming the property industry in South Africa, so that what happened to me never happens to anyone ever again. And now, instead of doing property, I'm trying to fix it.
Definitely. That sounds like a great thing that you're actually doing, and also the fact that you have first-hand experience with such does come at a relief for some of your clients. When they come through, they know that you've experienced certain things and you advise better because you know from experience. Because it's better to get advice from someone who has had the experience than someone who's never had, who's never actually experienced that. So now that you've actually stated that you're a qualified property agent and you moved to South Africa, which is a beautiful story. So I hope you're finding SA great the way you
my son is thriving here. He's autistic, and he started to speak 6 months ago. So, and obviously autistic children don't like to wear shoes. So being in Canada with the snow is not ideal. So my son is thriving here. Me, we're getting there. We're getting there.
So, which brings us to what brought you here.
Yeah, I know. I'm all about controversy.
You've been very controversial, hey?
Yeah.
You've been very controversial, and we are so happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
So please, what brings you here in detail? We want the excruciating
All right.
details.
So, I mean, what happened to me on my property, and honestly, I say that God works in mysterious ways. So the Canadian construction is very different to South Africa. So I've never been around brick and mortar and plumbing inside the wall and electricity inside the wall. So it's a whole new experience to me. So the fact that I had to renovate my house from start to finish and learn all of these things is like the best expense I could ever have asked for, because it makes me a 10,000 better real estate agent, because I know what to look for now and how much it costs and how much of a pain it is. And so when I saw a video of this gentleman witness where he was giving advice on how to transfer properties from one name to another without ever having the money. And that immediately caught my attention, because it can happen, and actually did happen in Canada. It's called assignment. So where you lock in the property as a buyer and then you sell that contract to someone else. But it's actually an illegal practice in Canada currently. So I was a bit shocked by it, and I wondered, can this happen in South Africa? Are we still allowing this? And to be honest, what I know about property is the transfer, you don't own the property unless it's transferred into your name. So I I was a bit taken aback because how could he sell the property if he never owns it without ever transferring it into his name? So I was very confused. And then I saw all of the comments were, thank you for giving all your advice and saving us, and you're such a blessing. And I was quite horrified because that's not good advice. It's tax evasion in my eyes. And I don't know how. I mean, he did mention that you need to make it subject to sale or subject to finance, but people do that normally when they're trying to get the bond approved or get the money. And as a seller, how would you feel if you sold your house to someone for $5 million and they turned around in a week and sold it for $7 million? To be honest, the first thing I thought is this is a bit of a illegal practice. And then it made me wonder, are the real estate agents who are listing these homes undervaluing them so that it can then be sold for more? And is there some kind of cahoots going on here? So what exactly is the story here? Because if someone's listing their house for $5 million and turning around and selling it for $7 million, it was never priced correctly. I exposed this gentleman on TikTok. And during my investigation of him, because I'm launching a new property platform in South Africa where we can stop all the industry corruption. And during our process, we've had to find that we need to be registered, we need to have FIC. There's a lot of rules against registering a property platform in South Africa. So that made me start to look into his company. And that's where we discovered that he is not registered. So hence the bad advice. He just hasn't done the course, perhaps.
Wow, that is some really, really FBI investigations.
Yeah,
that you've
well,
actually
you
done
know,
there
you
to
got to
actually
know your
discover
competition.
that. Because, when you talk about competition, people are going to now wonder, because you're in the same industry, are you not trying to level out the competition? Are you not trying to get him out of the way so that your business can actually,
Absolutely
progress?
Fair. So this is my response to that. First of all, I could never kick the competition out if they were doing it ethically and legally. It's just natural competition. Part of growing a business is discovering who your competition is. And obviously we know who our major competitors are. And he came up on my TikTok feed, which I realized all of a sudden, this is someone we've never investigated. So we did our due diligence about who he is because he would be a competitor. But now realizing that he basically handed, basically on a silver platter, you are competition, but you're also illegal. So be competition, but make sure that you're ethical and make sure that what you're doing is fair practice and protects the consumers. Because as far as I'm concerned, we don't have competition if they're not doing things legally and ethically, because our business is built on ethics, trustworthiness, making sure that agents are licensed, making sure that the property information that's supposed to be out there is out there. No more POA, which is price and application. No more listings for R1. No more misinformation. And we're seeing this across the spectrum, which is what happened to me when I moved from Canada, is the property I purchased had like 5 different prices on it. And I couldn't figure out what was the actual price of the property. And that's because multiple agents had it listed and had listed it at whatever price they decided to list it for, which is unethical. It is not allowed.
Supposed to list it on one price.
There is supposed to be one price. There is supposed to be one set of information. There's supposed to be the address. And Joseph, who will come on and speak to this is what we do. We wanted to make sure that everything in property is ethical. I mean, remember, this is the biggest purchase you'll make your entire life.
Definitely.
This is generational wealth. Now, if what happened to me without my Canadian dollars happened to me in South Africa and I just invested all my money into this property, I would be broke. I would have lost that house because I had to put in 1.7 million rand. That is despicable. Thankfully, I was in a financially good position, but I can't imagine if this is my entire life savings in this house, I would have lost it. And all because people are getting away with bad practices. And that's what I want to stop. And I can't now look at him as a competitor because he's not. It's illegal. He's not a competitor. That's what it boils down to. So,
but now, where else did you report him?
So what I wanted to do is approach him privately first.
Yes.
And speak with him and say, what you're doing is unethical. I'm happy for him. Black entrepreneurship is a huge part of this industry, and it's something that we're hopefully looking to change as well, that we want to bring more Black people into this industry because it is predominantly white, and that is unacceptable in today's age with South Africans. So why is that happening? Because it's too expensive to sell property in this country. So our platform is going to be very cheap so that we can get the right people in. So I am all about promotion of what we should see in South Africa. But what I didn't like about the situation with him is that he's using his platform to approach communities that are the vulnerable. That's the best way to put it. Going into townships and bringing them onto their platform when he hasn't done it legally and ethically was my biggest issue with it. So I approached him privately and he responded, and he doesn't care. That's what I got from that conversation.
And you know also about your TikTok post, there was like some racist remark coming back to you saying, is this a race issue?
Yeah.
So it will be bad journalism on my side if I don't ask. Is this a race issue? How can you make the public comfortable that this is not a race issue? How can you explain to them that, no, this is business?
Well, I wouldn't care what color he is. It's the behavior. I have that a lot on my TikTok. First of all, I'm a white, foreign-sounding South African, so this happens to me quite often. It really doesn't matter to me about someone's race. I am calling out the behavior, and I will be calling out all the property practitioners' behavior, regardless of what color they are. There is a lot more going on than people understand, and we're going to be calling everyone out. When I looked at his platform, I didn't care that it was black. I cared that it was unethical. And if I get called racist for that, okay.
And you're saying he's going into the townships, targeting the townships, right? What makes you think that's what he's... why do you think he's probably targeting that?
Well, he does say on his story that they come from the back end to the boardroom. So they're coming... He's grown up in a township, and he wanted to do this for his people in the township. And that's 100%... it's an amazing story. But just do it ethically and legally. And the video I posted recently on my TikTok says exactly that. Witness, you aren't doing it correctly. Start doing it correctly. Because there is nothing from stopping him taking all of this money that he's making and running away with it. And because he's not registered, nobody has protection, regardless of your skin color. You have no protection. And that's what I'm calling him out for. And yes, it's a white person calling out a black person, but I can't help that. I was born this way. And I will not apologize for being born this way, because I can't.
Okay. So also, with the controversy that the video is receiving, are you not fearful for your life?
I wasn't, but I think this is also what South Africa is about. You guys are scared of everything. And really, there is a lot of racism that I'm just not accustomed to. Like, I would never, if I called out a black person in Canada, the race card would never have come up. We just don't operate that way. So I wasn't scared until so many people reached out and said, I'll be your security, watch yourself. So today I was scared for the first time ever, but I posted a video. The bottom line is I'm going to have haters, and I do not want to live in fear. My son is very protected if I die, and that's all I can do. And I've had an amazing life. So if that's what happens, the crazy thing is there would be no point in killing me, because this is a viable company and there's many people behind me, so it's still gonna go.
Yes. Oh, okay. And also, do you think in this alleged unethical property agency practices, there are other accomplices or agencies or companies that are participating to enable this to happen?
There's no way there's not. I mean, he blew up in 6 months. There is no way that anyone on his team that is licensed didn't know that he was not supposed to be doing this. So I don't know. But all I know is, how did no one report this shit? He has a lot of following on TikTok. So how did I discover it in 6 months and no one else did? And the only reason we even discovered it is because we're launching so quickly. But I don't think I ever would have known if it wasn't for me being a competitor and looking into my competition.
Okay, which also brings us, when you're a competitor and you're in competition with someone, of course, people are going to naturally go search you. So currently, are you listed on the PPRA website?
So here's the fascinating thing about PPRA. It's not operating as well as we would like it to. So I've done a TikTok on this. I went to go search myself and I don't show up, but I am licensed. So why am I not showing up? So I actually reached out to them and said, hello, can you please make sure I show up, because I'm telling people who I am and they need to be able to search me. So then I did a video showing people exactly how to look for a licensed agent. So there is a back way to do it. And our research shows that actually there is lots, like thousands of agents that do not show up on the property platform PPRA who are licensed. This is obviously a problem for PPRA, and they need to fix it as quickly as possible. And it's a reason why we've added in another step onto our platform, so that we can ensure that if PPRA isn't doing it, we're doing it for them. But if you go onto the PPRA website, there's a corner, I think it's on the right-hand side,
yes,
where you can look to see if an agent is licensed. But unfortunately, not all of them are there. So it's a terrible step. But there is a number to call.
So now it brings us to investigations on how did you discover that this gentleman is not on the PPRA, since the PPRA has loopholes itself?
They do. So we called.
Okay.
And we got direct information from them. He is not licensed, and neither is the company. So we did what you're supposed to do if you can't find it online. So of course I didn't find it online, which is why we contacted them directly.
That is very, very interesting.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you guys the number so you can put it out for everyone. And all they have to do is say, this is the person, this is the company, are they currently licensed? And I recommend people do this every single time, because I have a license right now that expires in 2026. So I can walk around with my license and show it to everyone. But what if in a month from now I did something unethical and illegal and I lost my license? I still have that little printed piece of paper that says 2026. So technically I could get away with it until 2026. So we highly recommend that people constantly check to see if their current agent is licensed. And it's a little difficult, it's a little further, but if they're not, you are not protected. And that makes no sense to me.
But what happens if the company is not listed, but the employees and the company are listed on the PPRA?
Well, by rule and regulation in South Africa, and Joseph will speak more to this, in order to have a property platform where you are advertising listings, the company has to be registered. So I could be registered as a real estate agent, but I'm registered under a company. So even if he has licensed agents working for him, the company is not registered. And I would hesitate, and Joseph can speak more on this, if he has agents working with them, who are they registered with? So they need to be registered under his company. So are they fully licensed, or are they just qualified and actually don't have a current FFC license?
So now it also brings us to another, it opens up a set of worms in a can of worms in terms of that. Because, for example, right, do you think he's not registered because he doesn't know? He's ignorant, maybe? Or what happens with that?
I honestly think he doesn't know. Based on our conversation that I had with him today, he says he's been in property for 18 years. I think he has no clue that this is a regulated industry and you cannot just do what you want.
But for 18 years, that's an entire child in varsity.
You would think he would know. And honestly, if you start a business in South Africa, I don't care what your business is, just make sure you're doing it correctly. Like if I wanted to go start an insurance company, I would probably research what's required. So, but unfortunately for him, ignorance is not an excusable in any way, shape, or form with regards to the law. It's not excusable. If he didn't know, now he knows, and now you fix it. And that's it. And you can still continue your business if it's fixed.
Would you want him to fix it, though? Is it the right time for him to fix it now?
I would say I personally have lost trust in what he says, because you're right. He's been doing this for 18 years, apparently. So why did you not know that this was a serious issue? How did you not do the research? The bottom line is it's hard for me to speak on this sometimes, because they are a competitor. I mean, they're not, to be honest. It's not legal. So they're not a competition to us whatsoever. But if they fix it and they do it properly, then they will be a competitor. And I'm all for good competition. That's actually my favorite thing about South Africa, is it's very easy to start a business here. And that's unfortunately one of the big issues I have, is it's too easy because people aren't. My biggest question would have to be, why did PPRA not catch him yet? Where have they been?
PPRA.
Sorry, 10,000 users. Where were you?
Yeah, we're actually getting into that video, right? It says, he was stating in the video that you can buy property with no money, and there's loopholes in property offers subject to finance, subject to raising money, and that they shop your property around while you are tied to a contract. So that was some footage that came out of him, talking to his audience about doing that.
Yeah.
Saying that they are there to actually learn. So can you please elaborate on that in detail and how that is unethical?
Yeah, so probably the most crazy part of that video was when the audience was shocked and he was like, well, here I am to teach you. No, please don't teach people that. Don't do that. Don't do that. In South Africa, you can only sell property that's in your name. So even if you own the contract and you've now locked the seller into this contract, it's not your house. You cannot go around and sell it to someone else. So I don't understand that advice. As far as I'm concerned, it sounds like tax evasion, because if you're flipping a house, you have to pay capital gains. So I'm sure SARS has a little problem with his advice. And then, of course, in my video, there was someone else that reposted it and said, I just did this and I made 2 million rand. Whoa,
yes,
don't
I was actually
repeat this.
getting to that one. Do you also think that, creator should be held accountable as well?
100%. And, he's telling this to communities like Soweto and Alexandria, the poorest of the poor. And now you've said to them, you don't need to buy a house without money. No, that's just not true. I'm sorry. The house needs to be put into your name so that then you can sell it. He did say that it's called selling contracts. You're playing contracts. No. That's not allowed. It's just not. It has to be in your name. So if he registered the property in his name and then turned around and sold it for 7 million, cool, okay. But that is not what they said in their video. They're basically saying, I have no money, I've never had the money, and I'm now going to turn around and to sell it to someone else. So I would love more detail on what he's talking about, because based on the surface, on what he said, do not tell people to do that. That is unethical, that is illegal. I want more information. And he said that you can just make it subject to, why? My favorite is when he said it's up to the agent to qualify you. Oh my goodness, now you're putting it on the agent? Like, no.
So now you're getting the agent in trouble, and they're not aware that they're going to get in trouble.
Well, they believed you. You said, yes, give me 3 months to raise the money. They're believing that you're going to get that money. You didn't specify where you're going to find the money, but you're basically saying, I never had the money. That is very, very different to, I have the money, I'm just waiting for it to come in. He even said, this is how you buy property without money. Don't do this. Do not do this. I mean, first of all, it's so unfair to the seller. But my biggest question would be, if he now owns a property platform and they're advising people on how much to sell their house for, are they undervaluing properties and then having other people now come buy them? Like, it is just, it makes me very nervous.
So how does one get to undervalue a property? How do they get away with that? So if I come to you and say, I'm trying to sell my house for 1 million, and how do they now tell me, no, your house is worth 600,000, and I believe them? How do they get away with that?
This is why we need to bring trust back into the industry, is because a lot of people believe the professional, right? He sounds so credible. I would believe him if he came to me and said my house was worth 4.5 million. I would be like, okay, show me a little bit. But the thing about South Africa property is that there really isn't a good market evaluation system. So it's a lot of guessing. And because agents are gatekeeping their listings, you actually really don't know enough about properties. So if I came into your property and said, I've done the research, and you can manipulate CMAs in this country, which is a comparative market analysis. I can literally pick and choose which house I want to compare you against, and you're just going to believe me. So that is how I overpaid for my house. My house is probably worth 4 million. I was told, based on the market evaluation that they gave me, it was 4.7. It sure as hell ain't, now that I know enough about the neighborhood. But I trust them. I trusted these people. So how do you get to undervalue? You believe them. You believe what they're showing you. And you should. You should be able to trust professionals, because that's what they are. It's professionals. So my biggest concern for his platform is, are we giving them 100% the correct information? And if he is selling properties on his platform, who is advising the seller correctly? Are they being advised correctly? Are they selling it for exactly what it's worth? Because when you tell people that you can now shop it around and sell it for more, okay.
Oh, that's something else. But no, also, there's an article that was on Business Tech that stated that, that now the alleged unethical property agents are actually growing. It's a growing concern in South Africa, to a point that they can actually list AI-produced properties on sites to target buyers as well as tenants. So they can actually target you to a point, and then they can also rent out that apartment for a day as an Airbnb, just to show it to you so that you can actually believe them, and then you get to pay the deposit and everything, and then boom, they've disappeared.
We're hearing so much.
So that's Business Tech saying, so how do we know that these property posts that he's posting, that he's putting out there, are not AI or are not?
Well, we have no idea. He's not under any regulation or rules right now. We actually have no idea. It's a very good question. I hope they are. That's the best I can say.
So now you're saying that he's charging high fees for his services, for his talks, for his tour, and these high fees are, who sets these thresholds on how? So sorry, are you okay? Yes. On these, thresholds, who sets them? Because, for example, we know that VAT cannot be more than 15%. It's set, everybody knows, but we don't know if I'm doing a business and I say, irregardless of unethical or the likes, if I'm doing a business and I say, okay, for this bucket of rocks or glass of rocks, I want 1,000 rand.
You can charge what you want.
So there's no set thresholds.
There is no regulations or codes in real estate about commission. So if any agent ever comes to you and says, I have to charge this because of PPRA, lies. Sorry, there is no set commission. There is no set pricing. You charge based on your experience, based on what you're giving them. And it's up to the seller to say, yeah, I'll pay that because I agree that you giving me a moving truck and paying for my house to get virtually staged and professional photos are worth it. There is no set regulation in property whatsoever. The reason why I brought that up on his property platform is it's illegal. The price should be zero. You cannot charge anything at all. But he did say for enterprises, this 25,000 rand for 1,000 listings. Oh my goodness. What? No. These, again, 49 rand for a listing. Okay, that's cool, but you're not allowed to charge nothing. So I don't care what his pricing is. 1 cent is too much. So that's why I called him out for charging. Private Property and Property 24, all these other platforms, they do charge a lot. They charge to boost, and I'm a real estate agent, so I know this. I mean, I paid 5,000 rand 1 month to boost my properties. That's insane. The cost to be a real estate agent in this country is exorbitant. And that's exactly why I decided to bring in a company. We're going to charge 99 rand unlimited, never have to boost again. Because if we're going to fix the industry, charge less so that they don't have to find weird, horrible, unethical ways to make money. So it's just, this industry is unfortunately owned by a lot of bad practices. And that's what we're here to do. I mean, the only reason we're even charging 99 rand is because we have to set something. Somebody's got to pay for this website at some point.
Yes.
But we never want people to boost. Enough. I don't want to spend 5,000 rand to boost anything ever. That's ridiculous, because if I don't sell that person's house because the market's bad or because real estate is a lot about luck, the timing's bad, the buyer just hasn't showed up yet, I'm out of pocket 5,000 rand and never having done anything wrong. That's insane. It's the only industry in the world where you pay to play. I have to pay to sell homes before I ever sell a home, ever. And we're now putting open mandates out there where agents have to compete with each other. Whoever sells it the fastest makes the money. I mean, it's this entire industry in South Africa right now is just it just needs to be fixed. We are causing agents to do unethical things. We're allowing bad practices because of how we're operating, and it doesn't need to be this way. And I get to say that because I was in property in a very regulated country for many years, and it is so beautiful to see people are protected. People can make money. People can trust. And if you do not do the right thing, they could sue me for millions. And so they should. And a lot of what happens in Canada is that you go after the agent first because their job is to protect you. And we have to have $5 million worth of insurance on us. It's mandatory. So I'm the first person on the hook, which is what it should be. If you don't want to disclose that you see someone's moisture in their house and you're just relying on the seller being honest about it, I'm sorry, that's unethical. You should do that.
Because you are the agent.
You are the agent,
the one representing both of us in this.
100%. Why aren't we using buyer agents in this country? We're allowed to. I mean, I've had so many people say, but we don't do it here because that's the way it works in South Africa. So get it together. We have rules here. We can do these things. Buyers should be protected because if I use a listing agent to list my property and they are the ones helping me buy it, I now am not protected because they're working for the other person. So why would I not protect myself when it's my money? You know? And yes, it's their sale, it's their house, but it's my money coming out of my pockets. None of this would happen if it wasn't for my money. So the biggest thing I want people to know is educate. You know how many people don't know that PPRA exists? They've never heard of it.
I also found out on my last interview with the real estate agent.
I mean, real estate agents say to me, oh, call EAB. That's the old board. We've changed that a while ago. What are you talking about? So, but remember, it's just telephone. If your principal doesn't know, they teach you wrong. So our biggest play with ZapHub is education. You will never see someone come out with so much education ever, because in order to fix it, you have to educate the people. They don't know that it's happening. So if I teach you how to protect yourself, there's no way you can employ an unethical agent because you will be making sure that they're doing their job properly. And that's all we want to do. And this is why I called him out, because it just needs to stop. You're giving the wrong education and people are believing you and you have a huge platform.
But now, since he's doing this, and he has registered agents under him. When this backfires, does this backfire on the registered agents as well? Because you just said that sometimes you put an open mandate out there with the first agent to sell it gets the commission. So I'm also assuming that agents are under pressure to actually sell. So hence maybe they're trying other means of selling somewhere else, or as cheaper means of like trying to make profit for themselves. Yeah. So if he catches fire, does that mean everybody is gonna catch fire?
Well, no one catches fire right now because there's no protection. They're not PPRA registered. They would just have to go to normal courts and hope to win. I don't know how he has registered agents under him. They must be registered under different companies working for him. I don't know how it's operating. I would love to know. I would love to know how their company is operating. All I know for sure is he is not registered with PPRA. That's it.
And now we actually move on to a bit of a break, and we actually go to our PPRA expert. He's going to tell us a little bit more about that, so that we actually make sure that this episode is educational, and we have an expert here to actually tell them that we are not just starting him. We're not just trying to do whatever. We're just trying to educate everybody and make sure everybody is ethical in the real estate agency. So he's going to be joining us now. If you don't mind,
I will.
We need to switch. So please, guys, those who are watching, don't forget to like and subscribe on our pages at Set Podcast 1 on all social media platforms. We are bringing you an exclusive this week. So definitely. We can't wait for that. So now our PPRA agent is going to be joining us now, and he's going to be introducing himself. And I would say, you better listen. And this is not about race, because he is black and I am black too. So hi
Mahlatsi.
How you can come closer to the mic, sir.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So please tell us a bit more about yourself before we actually get started, about your experience, everything along the lines.
Thanks, Mahlatsi, and thank you so much for having me. My name is Joseph Sakoneka. I actually worked for the regulator for about 10 years. And I have, from an educational background, I have an MBA. I'm also an accountant. So I'm well versed with the property space. And I also served, by the way, as the CEO of the National Property Practitioners Council, which is trying to, get people to understand exactly what are the rules of the game in the real estate space.
Yes. So you are very, very well versed in this.
Yeah.
Definitely. So please, guys, do pay attention as he's going to be sharing his knowledge. So our first question is for those who don't know what PPRA stands for.
Yeah.
What does PPRA stand for?
Mahlatse, thank you for that question, because it's funny that sometimes when you speak to general members of the public, they will even ask you, what are you talking about when you start throwing words like PPRA? So the PPRA is the Property Sector Watchdog. It used to be called the Estate Agency Affairs Board, or the EAB. It was established in 1976, but because a lot of things changed since 1976 to where we are now, there are a lot of ways that property transactions are done. There was a need for the old entity to repealed into a new one, and with that came a new act. So there are a lot of rules that have been amended, and the PPRA is actually the enforcer of those rules that are now clearly defined. Yes.
Okay, all right, makes a lot of sense. That's
Yeah.
a lot of information, guys. I think you should do. So, why is the PPRA there? Why is it important that real estates operate with a valid PPRA?
Yeah. So, Mahlatse, thank you for that question, because PPRA is a public entity and it has a legislative mandate. And there are a couple of things that they are actually tasked to do. But I think I'm going to touch on the three critical ones that I think your viewers need to actually know about. One, they're there to regulate the industry, meaning they get to define the rules of the game. They're there to protect the consumer, because many, many people out there that try to, buy property, sometimes unsuspectedly, they actually make use of people that claim to be property practitioners, but they're not licensed. And again, PPRA is also there to transform the sector, because if you look at the statistics of the makeup of the industry, it's still predominantly white. And that is actually not consistent with the demographics of this country, as you know, that more than 80% of the population makeup is black people. So one of the legislative mandate as PPRA is to try and, change the look of the industry to reflect the demographics of this country.
Wow, that's really, really great, because we would love
Yes.
to see a lot of black real estate agents as well, and people in that industry.
Yeah.
Hence I was asking Bronwyn earlier, is people are going to ask you, is this a race thing?
Yeah.
And she had to clarify that and say, no, this is not a race thing. This is all about being ethical. This is all about following the rules. And also, if you're a competitor, be a legal competitor. That's what she was also mentioning. So also we also had to ask about that. But
Yeah.
also there's a study here that says, according to research, a potential buyer, seller, or tenant should do at least 3 Google searches before thinking of renting or purchasing a property. So how do you think the 10,000 people missed what the accused, the alleged is doing, and coming to his platform and operating with him?
Mahlatse, thank you so much for that question. And I think maybe before I even answer your question, one of the reasons why I actually, after I left the PPRA, decided to join the team, I realized that there are expectations from the regulator, but the industry is doing another. And then I thought, because I worked at the regulator for so many years and I understand how rules are supposed to be, followed, I'm the perfect bridge to actually try and reconcile the two worlds. Now, coming to your question as to how did the 10,000 followers miss
Active
that?
users, yes.
Yes. So I'm also black, as you can see, but I don't think that this is about race. This is more about saying, guys, let's do things right. There are rules in this game. If you want to be part of it, let's just follow those rules. Now, the 10,000 followers, look, the gentleman on his videos, he appears to be very credible. And one of the things that the PPRA is also tasked to do is to conduct consumer awareness. Perhaps the 10,000 followers have not been reached by the PPRA to make them aware that they're supposed to only be dealing with licensed property practitioners. So there might be many other reasons as to why they are still following him, even though it appears that he doesn't necessarily have the necessary or the requisite requirements to practice in the space.
But since he's been practicing and he already has 10,000 people under the belt, does that mean when the PPRA and the investigations are conducted, according to your experience, will they allow him to continue with his people that are under the belt, or will they not allow him? Will there be a penalty of some sort? What will happen?
Mahlatse, that's a very important question, I think. Look, the property practitioners working for anyone are employees of that company. And by extension, if he alleges that he has people working for him and they're licensed, then they have to be licensed under the banner of his company. We went to PPRA last week to go and register our platform, because I know the rules, and you can imagine I used to actually do the inspections myself and got a lot of people into trouble. Some of them, as we speak, they are actually in jail for having done things that are illegal. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm trying to show you that in this game, rules are clearly defined, and if you want to be part of the industry, then you need to follow them. It's got nothing to do with race. It could have been anyone. And what we're saying is, because I was part of the regulatory space, being out here, I want to make sure that real estate is done and is done right. So we are actually going to be real estate activists, which is why I decided to join the team. It's got nothing to do with him per se. Even if it was somebody else, but still not following the rules, I'd still obviously, do the same. And even take him on and say, listen, there are rules in this game and we need to follow them.
Okay, but also this same research also states that for an agent to practice, they need to have a Fidelity Fund certificate.
That's right.
Which is also called an FFC. So how does a property practitioner license to trade, so how can one tell that it's a real FFC, for example? Because she was saying that you could have a certificate and it's stamped up until to expire in 2026, but something happened and no one knows about it and you've been taken off. So how can someone verify the validity of the FFC?
Matlats, thank you for that question, because a lot of people actually get into so much trouble by dealing with people that are unlicensed, or they were previously licensed, but they've since done something wrong and they've actually been disqualified. So how the members of the public can actually check whether a person is trading legally with a legal Fidelity Fund certificate, PPRA again has a website where you can actually ask the property practitioner at the time of transaction for them to log in to their profile so that you can see that digital Fidelity Fund certificate. It shouldn't be a question of a piece of paper being given to you to say, here is a piece of paper, I am licensed. Because like I'm saying, you might have printed this in January, but we're sitting now, end of August. Something might have happened between Jan and now, but you still have that piece of paper. This is why the PPRA actually, as part of their consumer awareness, they're trying to say, members of the public, be aware that you need to actually trade with people that are licensed, and this is how you check that they are actually licensed. And by the way, they also have a number where you can call to verify whether a person is actually licensed properly.
But AI is very smart these days, so they have to log on in your presence and you need to see, because they can doctor something with anything and then come back and say, you see, I've logged in here, my details, you can't see my password and all of those things. So they need to log on right in front of your eyes.
Correct. And I think maybe the high level of security, if they are uncertain still, they can still contact the PPRA. There is a number on the PPRA website that they can actually use to reach PPRA to verify if a person that is in front of them is licensed.
Okay, and also, on Bronwyn's post, one of the people commented something very interesting. They said that they have a CPD block.
Okay.
What is a CPD block?
So CPD stands for Continuous Professional Development, like in any other professions. So Matlatse, maybe let's actually talk about this, because any other profession, like accountants, lawyers, for them to have credibility, there are ethics that are clearly defined. And one of the things that those professionals are required to do is to engage in continuous professional development workshops. Because a lot of things change. Like I mentioned, that one of the reasons that necessitated the change in the legislative regime that brought about the new Property Practitioners Regulatory Authorities, because the old act was called the Estate Agency Affairs Act, but it was passed back in 1976. A lot of things since changed in the property space. Now, the CPD is basically to say, you're not only just going to be qualified, post-qualification, you still need to keep abreast of the developments in the space, because otherwise if you miss a change, like for example, the FIC is also applicable in this industry. And you will understand that the Financial Intelligence Center Act, if not properly followed, you can actually end up with a lot of penalties. So those CPD, it's actually an attempt from the regulator side to say, yes, you are qualified. However, you need to continuously update yourself in terms of what are the new things in the space.
Wow, definitely. That is so informational.
Yeah.
That's a lot of information to consume, guys. And also, we're moving to systemic issues and prevention. Do you think something could have been done to actually prevent this? Do you believe that there's a systemic weakness in South Africa's property or legal system that allowed this to happen?
Matatse, we have a high unemployment rate in South Africa. I can safely tell you now that I'm from Midrand, and there are people that are actually making use of unlicensed property practitioners because it's cheaper to actually use them because they don't have an office. They're not operating in a formal setup. So they don't have overheads to worry about. So they can charge anything. By the way, just to confirm, commission is not regulated, but what I'm saying is there are bread and butter issues that we are faced with here. And one of the reasons why we have the challenges that we have, it's actually twofold, right? So the community or the society doesn't know what to expect from a property practitioner because property transactions are so complicated. They rely solely on what the practitioner standing in front of them tells them. Now, on the other side, the reason why these things are happening is because the regulator needs to continuously educate, which is one of the reasons why on our platform, the pivotal point of focus is education, because we believe that an empowered consumer will ask the right questions. And the likes of these platforms that we're talking about today wouldn't have thrived to the point where they are because the right questions would have been asked right at the beginning.
Do you think this would be beneficial for the education system in South Africa to actually consider teaching kids at a young age? Because, as we grow up, we learn that certain things, we don't know them.
Yeah.
And people can continuously do wrong things because they were never taught.
Yeah.
They never read anywhere. I've never seen a TikTok other than Bronwyn's TikTok talking about a PPRA.
Yeah.
So do you think it would be of value if this was implemented in our current educational system?
Definitely, Mahlatse. And by the way, you're touching a very important point here because previously people used to think that if they had nothing to do, they could default into real estate. However, right now, real estate, actually since 2008, PPRA said they are now a set of qualification standards that people need to meet, right? So that was an attempt to try and professionalize the industry. You know why they did that? They wanted to actually build credibility to protect the integrity of the profession. However, there are people out there that are still trading illegally. There are people that still don't have the necessary qualifications. Unfortunately, now PPRA has to go and find them. But in South Africa, as you know, we've got 9 provinces. PPRA sits in Sandton. There's no way that they're going to be seeing all of these activities happening in all the 9 provinces, which is why, as property practitioners that are properly licensed, we are going to be real estate activists and be the eyes and the ears of the regulator in trying to clean up the industry because we currently don't have a good name. And we don't want to associate ourselves with a profession where people don't trust us because of what our colleagues are doing. So we're saying, if you want to be part of us, be part of us, but follow the rules.
100%. Oh, my
Yes.
God. What advice would you give to potential property buyers, sellers, or tenants to avoid falling victim for unethical practices?
Yeah.
So that is, of course, you did say they can search on the agent has to search on the PPRA website. So what other advice would you actually give them in terms of, the regulation and all that?
Yeah, Matlatse, a very important question again. So there are 3 levels of property practitioners that we have in real estate. There is what we call candidate property practitioners, meaning these are the people that recently joined the sector. And then we've got what we call non-principal property practitioner. Non-principal property practitioner means this person has met the requisite education and training requirements. And then we have principals. Principals are the directors of the company. Now, members of the public out there that are dealing with candidate property practitioners, they need to understand that those candidate property practitioners need to be operating under supervision. So they shouldn't rely solely on the expertise of candidate property practitioners unless they can actually have access to their mentor so that, because remember, Matlats, on average, South Africans save for over 40 years to buy this biggest asset of their life. Now, you don't want to entrust that big investment with a candidate property practitioner that is not assisted by somebody with the necessary expertise. Think about this way. It's only in South Africa that a biggest transaction such as property can be handled by candidate property practitioners without their supervisors seeing exactly what they're doing. I mean, this is like going to a hospital and you have a heart problem and you get told that a newly qualified doctor that has never operated anyone is actually going to be working on you. Good luck to you, you are in good hands. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
That's a lot of prayer that you must do before that operation.
I would get healed and move if that was to happen to me. But with property, we actually have those situations where candidate property practitioners operate on their own. So platforms like the ones we're talking about today, unfortunately, even if they were to be saying they have licensed property practitioners, who's supervising them? Because they need to be connected to the company as employees. And by extension, the contractual law will apply to those employees under the auspices of this company. Let's just get this right. You can't be going out there, because it sounds to me that some property practitioners that are licensed are being rented to actually operate within the umbrella of this company that is not registered. That can be right.
But if something goes wrong, I also had Bronwyn say that if something goes wrong, you can't really go to the PPRA and say anything to them and say, okay, this is what happened. I lost 3 million.
Yes.
What happens? So you have to fight it in actual court and fight that money.
So you see, Mahlatsi, that's exactly why we're doing what we're doing. Because I'm an ex-regulator, and you can see the passion in my voice that I'm a little worried that a lot of people out there are being preyed upon, but they don't know that there's a risk of not doing your checks and balances. So the issue here is we need to make sure that the members of the public know what to actually ask the property practitioners so that they're protected. Because if you're dealing with somebody that is not licensed, previously up until 2022, when the new Property Practitioners Act was enacted and launched, it's now in force. And in that piece of legislation, it is crystal clear that you as a member of the public, if you make use of anyone that purports to be a property practitioner, but they're not licensed with the PPRA, and you lose money in that process, you cannot approach them to actually put in a claim. Unlike in the past, the new act is very clear, which is why, in reverse, because the PPRA realizes that not everyone out there knows that they should be doing the checks and balances. They're going out to do consumer awareness, to tell members of the public to ask for these Fidelity Fund certificate, to try and say, if there is a claim, you are covered. There's something called Property Practitioner Fidelity Fund. Lawyers have them. If you now want to sue a lawyer, you actually go to the Legal Practice Council, and that claim is going to be honored by that Fidelity Fund. But the Fidelity Fund can only honor that claim if the lawyer you used is registered and licensed with them. They also have a Fidelity Fund certificate, by the way, which is why I'm saying that this is something that, from our point of view, is awareness that we'd like to raise so that members of the public are protected, especially given the places that this gentleman aims to go and conduct his activities. Those are people that might not have access to information to say, if I was to buy a property, what do I look out for from the person that is going to be assisting me to sell my property or buy the property for that matter?
Yeah. Wow. That is a lot of information.
Yes.
I hope our audience did, learn a lot from this, because I'm also learning as we are speaking. But anyways, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to go back to Bronwyn to actually do some closing questions with her. But do come back next time to also tell us in a full episode in detail, and also how your investigations have went and how this has been dealt with. Because, of course, if someone is unethical, unfortunately, they need to be called to order before they start, doing the wrong things, because maybe they, like I said, maybe he doesn't know, or maybe he's known and he's just been ignorant about it. But yeah, so Bronwyn, please come back and join us again. So we are actually moving on with you to the personal reflections and closing questions. But before that, I think thank you so much for bringing an expert to the show to also back up, the allegations you have made against him, because that's very, very important for people to see that you're not trying to destroy his business. No. You're just trying to make sure he's an ethical competitor, because you love great competition, and this is a birthday present. So happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you.
You did call it the birthday segment. So I hope you enjoyed your birthday.
I had a wonderful birthday. Yeah. Best ever.
Yeah, so he did explain it to us about the PPRA and the importance of it and how it can affect, the agents and the clients as well. So now I do see the importance of actually taking this segment out to the people to actually see that what he's doing is questionable.
Not fair. Yeah.
So, exposing people is always risky. So, how sure are you that he would not respond with doctored or actual evidence that he is registered?
I wouldn't have gotten out there if I didn't know for sure.
Okay.
So a lot of people on my TikTok are like name and shame, name and shame. I am not here to name and shame. The biggest reason I brought it up on my TikTok is because my following is growing. Not because I'm scared of competition. I actually love competition. I can tell you my site is 10 times better than his. So continue what you're doing. But what I wanted more than anything is I have done real estate my entire life. I love real estate. I am so passionate about it. I love helping people buy their first home. It's like a feeling I'll never be able to explain to you. I am embarrassed to call myself a real estate agent in South Africa. And I want to fix it. And that's it. Or else I don't want to do it anymore. That's what it came down to all along from day one is I did studies while we were trying to launch that pub about what people think of real estate agents. And I was like, no, I'm not one. I'm embarrassed for my colleagues and my community. And the worst is that there are a lot of good ones out there being completely pummeled by bad ones or ones that are not licensed. And that's not fair. It's just not fair. There are people making money when they shouldn't be. I mean, a lot of things go wrong in this country, but this is a fixable issue. It's just education. It's a lack of education. Am I worried for my safety? Well, I've had a good life. It will never stop me. Yeah. I have no regrets. I'm sorry. Come after me. And the good news is there's a lot of people behind me, so we will continue with or without me.
Definitely. So now, how can victims, if there's any victims of the current unethical practices, or the general public reach out to you for more information and support as well?
Well, obviously, we have all of our socials ready to go. I have my Prime a TikTok account where people can ask me. A lot of people have been asking me questions, and we're trying to help as many people as possible, but I'm got a lot of messages, and there's a lot of bad practices out there. So what we're trying to do is use these stories to educate as much as possible, so they can follow me on my primary account, which I think you can show. And then Zap Hub, the company that is going to be launching soon, me and Joseph are actually doing educational pieces. So we are going to be doing an entire series on what buyers need to know, sellers, property practitioners. I mean, it's education. So people can go follow that and share it and ask us more questions. Anyone. We're trying to, again, biggest thing is there's a massive lack of education in this country. We're seeing people get away with it. Like, I wanted to respond to you said, how did 10,000 people not know? What were they supposed to know? Where is PPRA? Like, yes. we really want PPRA to step up. And let me just be very clear on that. They are responsible to regulate this. And I know it's a hard job because there's so many people out there doing things unethically. But they need to do more in the education space. So because they're not, we're going to do it for them. And now the public will know who to report to. But also, PPRA has so many complaints from agents, from people that are working with agents that are not agents. They're lost. The people need to know, if you didn't ask them if they have a license, you can't complain about it. So don't even bother going to the PPRA. It's a waste of time because they're not going to do anything for you. But remember, they now have to sift through, I think they're back like 26,000 cases, and about half of them aren't with licensed agents. So they have a lot to do. They have a tough job ahead of them, and we're just going to help them do it a bit better now.
Okay, I also wanted to read a bit of comments on your post. Is that okay if we read a little bit?
Oh dear, yes, let's go. I hope my team's deleting the really evil ones.
Just give us a second.
Okay.
I was asking for my phone, but the team did not get the message.
No, how dare you.
Guys. And now I have to
put her on the spot.
Open it right here.
Mm-hmm.
About
which one is this from? His video? Or
do you want us to read on your most recent one?
The one where I responded to him?
Yeah, do you want to?
Whichever one.
Okay. So some people are saying well said. So they ask some support from the public. So I think that's really, really good. I hope you're safe. Thank you all for what you're doing. Well articulated, unethical, and undesirable practices are to be scrutinized. Thanks for exposing this. I'm sure as hell do not want to deal with someone that's going to double sell my property. You're raising awareness, and it's most definitely in the public's best interest. So there's no leadership in this country. That is why people do as they please. Citizens of South Africa don't exactly want things to be done ethically. So there are some people who are actually in support of you. And you know, when this goes out and about, more publicity, the more safe you are. So I don't think, because he already knows who we are talking about, that he's actually going to do whatever. And also we do have some of the comments that, from the birthday present video.
Yeah, it was a good birthday present.
So it does say that I don't think this is illegal. Happy birthday. Someone said happy.
Well, thank you.
They
thank
focused
you,
on
thank
the
you.
birthday. Like, you know what? I'm just going to
Too controversial. I'm going to move on.
Everyone who finds the pre-existing loopholes and shares it deserves the backlash that comes with it. He's seen was sharing it on a public platform. So they're saying that he's actually saying, this other lady, she's actually not a lady, it's a cat. I see. Flipping isn't new. Folks have been speaking on this for years, but they were not really a threat to the market.
So I actually wanted to address that one. So this isn't flipping, as far as I'm concerned. Buying a house and selling it the next day, it ain't flipping. Flipping is buying a house, investing in it, and then selling it for more money. So let's be very clear. If that's what they were doing, sure, people do it all the time. You will pay capital gains on that, but that's not the issue. What he was saying is that he's selling one contract from one person to another. It ain't flipping.
And then one says, Red Klaus, meet the suspensive conditions in time. Our commercial sellers will not permit viewings without proof of funds. South African property laws are actually insane. How is this allowed? Cash sale subsedes a bond purchase. You cannot sell a property until it's transferred into your name. I spent the day yesterday at the police station opening a case against another agent for fraud. So this is actually happening. So I do think you're raising awareness. But now we're going to close. Yeah. Do you have anything that you want to add before we close?
Love or hate me, I don't really care. There's always going to be lovers. There's always going to be haters. I want to make sure that the public fully understands that we're doing this for consumer protection so that what happened to me never happens to anyone ever again. And let's be clear, I know property and it still happened to me. So if you're a first-time home buyer, if you've never done this before and it happened to me, it can definitely happen to you. So I don't want people to be like, oh, it will never happen to me. It can and it will. And it's unfair.
So last question that we just got in is that will selling contracts be a matter that can be reported to SAPS, South African Police Service?
No. Again, it all depends on what they did with the contract. I don't know enough about that story. Okay. I really cannot comment on that story. But what I know is how I took it is that he has a contract in place and sold it to someone else. That's not legal. So if I don't know enough. What were the conditions? I really
But if it's not legal, is that not a basis of a criminal charge?
If he didn't do it legally, yes, of course. Yeah. So, it's the gentleman that said he bought it for 5 and sold it for 7, again, I don't know. I don't know enough. Sounds kind of illegal to me, but I'm not here to police people. I'm here to educate people, which is why I never wanted to go to the PPRA, but now I'm forced. Now I have to. Because if he doesn't want to be educated, that's on him now. I've done what I can do, and now we report.
But also just to make sure the public has visibility of what you've done in order to contact him. Which means did you use to contact him, and how long before he actually took out a response today saying something else?
So obviously I posted that video a few days ago. Nothing. He was tagged in it. No response, no nothing. And then I reached out to him a couple weeks ago with a private message and never heard anything. And then obviously I commented on a couple of videos that he now has responded to. So did what I could.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
I do believe this was actually very, very educational. And thank you so much, Joseph. He's sitting on the side, guys, because he's not on camera anymore. But we are going to release this. And I really hope that your vision of educating people on real estate grows, because I think people need to know about this. Because when we grow up, we're not told about anything about to be buying houses or how to be done or what to look for. So I think people are going to really, really appreciate this. And I hope so. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast. And please do follow us on social media platforms at Set Podcast 1. And we will see you next time.